Hi there, listener. We, the editorial team of a manufacturer, have the great privilege of bringing you interviews from some of the best manufacturers, leaders, industry analysts, young pioneers, innovators, and solution providers. But sadly, we can't possibly fit all of them into our podcast episodes. Fear not, though, because you're listening to Archives, a platform where you can hear these fascinating and thought-provoking interviews in full. In this episode, it's Nick Davis, Industry 4.0 leader at Deloitte, our esteemed Smart Factory Expo sponsors of 2022. This is his interview from a manufacturer studio at Digital Manufacturing Week.
Hi, we're in the post-lunch session at Smart Factory Expo. I'm joined by Nick Davis, Industry 4 lead at Deloitte. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm very well.
Excellent. First and foremost, how's the show going? What's it been like for you?
Fantastic, and thanks, Joe, for giving me a few minutes to spend some time with you here. I think it's just phenomenal. I mean, I think, having been the headline sponsor for a few years now, incredible event. I think there's even greater buzz this year. And I think, obviously, having the Manufacturing Leaders Summit alongside the Expo, I mean, what strikes me is the diversity involved here. All of the different types of manufacturing that we come across, but also everything from hardware, software, systems integrators, all the different focus areas that could possibly be available for those who want to kind of be embarking on these kind of journeys. It's fantastic.
Sure. And touching on some of the technology, what's going on the Deloitte stand this week? What are you guys focusing on?
Yeah, so a big part of it is a bit of a launch pad for a number of smart factories that Deloitte has globally in Kyoto, Dusseldorf, and in the US. We have an immersive virtual experience where people can kind of see what some of those environments are like. It's kind of a collaborative space that we use to help educate executives and others around what a smart factory is, what it could mean, and some real practical applications to show what the technology can deliver for organisations out there.
Fantastic. So for manufacturers who are embarking on their digital transformation journeys, perhaps haven't even started yet, perhaps thinking about it, how can Deloitte help them out?
It's the thing about Industry 4, Smart Factory and so on is the sheer diversity of what's involved, right? So we at Deloitte are, we're an independent organisation. We're not a particular technology, focused on a specific technology. And we help organisations to navigate their smart factory journey from all different facets you could imagine, dedicated around HR transformation and the people and cultural aspects of these journeys, the technology itself, choosing the right technologies, how to implement it, and actually helping our clients to implement technology. But then a broader range of areas around considerations around cybersecurity, for example, and also some really niche areas around actually how can you make benefits around things like different kind of tax regimes or what might be happening around the funding routes that might be available for you as well. So my role as the Industry 4 leader for Deloitte is essentially to curate and make sure all of that kind of breadth of capability is available for our clients.
Indeed, sure. And I think everybody's familiar with the term of the 7 deadly sins, but what perhaps a lot of people don't realise is there are 7 sins of the smart factory, aren't there?
There are. So, we wanted to kind of create something that was a bit memorable and people could kind of hold some thoughts around here at the Expo. And we conceived that around the 7 deadly sins. I'll bring maybe to life a couple of those. Lust. Lusting for that newest beast of technology for the sake of that technology. That's a sin, and we do see some organisations making that kind of mistake around actually what really should be driving their smart factory journey, and the value and the business challenges that can be addressed is fundamentally the start point as well. Another is around wrath, so not incurring the wrath of your people along the way, having particular consideration around actually solving the challenges that face people on the shop floor. They have the best view about the pain points that they experience every day, and actually with some awareness around what technologies are out there and can help, they can piece those things together and actually helping to facilitate those kind of discussions that can avoid the sin around wrath, for example.
Indeed. Yeah, it's interesting you touched on those too, because those are 2 elements that have certainly cropped up this week around. It's quite easy to get distracted by shiny tech without actually focusing on whether you perhaps need it or not, and then of course that people element. How's it going to impact our shop floor? Who are the people at the coalface who are going to be immersed in it and using it every day? So it's interesting you touched on those two individual ones. But so those are taking the 7 deadly sins. What's sort of the best practice for manufacturers in terms of avoiding them?
Right, so I alluded to it a little bit. The RAF element is in constructing the teams for a smart factory journey is recognise all the different stakeholders involved. Who's really going to use it? Is it going to be a benefit for your quality function, your operations function, R&D, whoever it's going to be? But actually then bringing them together with the traditional IT function, your OT function, infusing knowledge from external support organisations, the academic kind of institutions out there that are helping, and creating all of that. That is a key thing for establishing the right team that's going to help develop, get these technology solutions and the change that's really needed in those environments as well. So definitely around RAF. The thing around business case is, what is the North Star that excites, those who are financially minded in the organisation, but also translates into actually what it's going to mean for people. So, is productivity improvement available to people? Probably yes. But actually the thing that's probably more exciting for operators as well is, how is this going to make my life easier? How am I going to be able to do a better job using these tools that are going to be available to me? Mm-hmm. And I think, constructing that kind of view of the value that's going to be available and making sure that is really clear in terms of the communication, I think that's a key element of avoiding some of those pitfalls.
Yeah, sure, thanks. And taking a more sort of broader view of manufacturing, how is that digital transformation journey progressing in general?
So the thing that has struck me particularly in the Leaders Summit and the roundtables is actually quite a lot of commonality. So I think people are certainly further in the journey than a couple of years back. If I look at the technology elements, the maturity of technology that's available and prepackaged solutions to solve particular challenges in this space, I think has moved on enormously. I think what people are challenged with is the successes that people are seeing around piloted and so on. Actually, how do they kind of amplify that impact? Across a business unit or potentially globally across a network of factories as well. And I think it's that tipping point that I see is kind of something that a lot of manufacturers are now struggling with.
Yeah, I think a phrase we hear quite often is pilot purgatory.
Yes.
That stumbling block when it comes to scaling the deployment up and across different divisions or locations or whatever
Absolutely.
it might be. And just finally, sort of around the challenges, whether it be COVID, whether it be supply chain disruption because of the conflict going on in the Ukraine, the battle for skills and talent. So how are those in general holding back that rollout of digital transformation technologies?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think undoubtedly, funding and priorities are a big challenge. I think at the same time, for those involved in this field, there is opportunity around this, because I think those elements that are impacting manufacturers as a business are exactly those things that those who want to drive digital transformation need to be thinking about and articulating around the value. So even with something like inflation and what that's kind of doing in terms of increasing the cost of labour, cost of materials, the resilience challenges we've seen that have meant that people have held inventory for longer than they might normally have. All of those are business problems that digital can help resolve. Mm-hmm. So this might be a half pint, a half full drink kind of analogy here, but I think there's an element about keeping an eye on what those business challenges are, and we as practitioners in digital manufacturing and smart factory need to be attuned to those and helping our business stakeholders address them. Yeah,
fantastic. Nick, that's been absolutely brilliant. Thanks for taking the time to stop by the studio, and of course enjoy the rest of Smart Factory Expo.
I will. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
We hope you enjoyed that, listener. Keep an ear out for more episodes like this one, and of course for more episodes of the Manufacturer Podcast. Whatever streaming site you're listening on, be it Spotify or Apple Music, be sure to give this podcast a follow and a rating. And if you're watching this on YouTube, why not subscribe to our channel for the latest video content?